Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities. We'll work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all these sectors looking for potential investment opportunities. I did release a midweek update this morning on my opinions on the market and what I am looking at for individual companies and how I'm positioning. I also updated a portfolio that I put together, the Roth 401k, and you can see the companies that I added this morning. May Day coupon is still active if you'd like to join, or if you'd like to do the yearly membership, you get a larger discount with that coupon. All right, let's dive in. Let's take a look, see what's going on today. The DXY slightly higher, up 0.06. We've been just tracking sideways in the dollar here. And you'll probably see the inverse of this tracking sideways in gold and maybe some of these other commodities. So we're tracking sideways here with the DXY. Overall, though, I think we are still working our way lower. Now, in the short term, we could get a bounce. We could come on up and then roll back over again. Something on the lines of that is possible. That's going to be driven by yields. Short-term yields are going up for the 2-year. We are up 1.4% today. We do have a short-term bottom there, and we could get a short-term bottom, but that's not in the books yet. And the momentum is still to the downside. So that's kind of one of the drivers behind the dollar are these yields. So we were up today there. We were up on the 10-year, up 0.52%, and we were up 0.33% on the 30-year. All of these are in downtrend still. They're still working. Momentum is still to the downside. We just had an up day today. They're not reversal candlesticks, and I still think that there is pressure to the downside over time, which means lower rates could still come ahead of us. We are coming to support across. There's some support through here when looking to the left, and then the 2-year looking to the left. There's a little bit of support through there, but not tons. Not tons. TYX TNX ratio. I look at this when this moves up in a pretty good fashion, kind of like this. That's generally when gold moves higher. So the uninversion of the yield curve. This is the 30-year and 10-year. When that uninverts, there's a high correlation between this graph and gold moving higher directionally. Not, gold doesn't make these big moves like this, just directionally. When this goes up, generally gold goes up. And it could go up substantially, gold, during these tailwind conditions. TLT down slightly, down 0.1%. But overall, again, I look at trends, not day-to-day activities necessarily, but it looks like it wants to go higher. Lower yields, stronger bond prices. And this is bond prices here on the 20-year. The 2 and 10, slightly higher today. So we're up 0.86%. We're right underneath that one-to-one relationship where the 2-year equals the 10-year. And it does look like it's going to try to work its way on up here and invert again. And we'll have to see how sustaining that move is. We are coming down in waves. We come down, consolidate, come down, consolidate, 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 come down, and we could get another consolidation at some point. So these are all just bear flag patterns that continue to uninvert the curve. We've got gold moving sideways up against a resistance area here. We've been hitting our head on some resistance at the 22,560 level. We could break out of this at any time. My guess is when rates go lower and the dollar goes lower, is when gold's going to punch through this thing. And then we could see another up leg. So a lot of times what happens is you break through resistance like we got here. We consolidate on top, and then we do an impulse move higher, consolidate, impulse move higher, consolidate. And that's how these markets typically work. You get impulse moves with consolidations along the way. Keep that in mind for when you're investing, that nothing goes straight up in a straight line. Silver up 1.23%. I am really starting to get bullish on silver. You could say that we've got kind of this, we're squeezing up to some degree here, and we're on top of the big breakout pattern. So this is your resistance. We've broken through resistance. We are consolidating, and then we could see another leg higher, another impulse move higher to the upside. And silver's got just an absolute ridiculous, look at this, guys. Cup, there's your handle pattern, and then the breakout. We're sitting on top of the handle of this big cup and handle breakout. We could fly here, guys. We could fly. That's what Seal says, at least. Platinum, up 1.6% or so. We are trying to get towards that resistance line. Hopefully we can break through and start working our way higher for platinum. Palladium up almost 6%, just ripping it. Look at that. Big move today. Pretty big move the past 3 trading sessions. Maybe we continue higher. Maybe we're getting a little bit of a shorty squeeze on this thing. Everybody's squeezing on the shorties, if you know what I mean. We've got GDX up a little bit. GDXJ, same thing, and SILJ up a little bit more, 2.43%. These all are at just different stages. They're all looking good with where gold is located and silver. This thing's ready to rip whenever it wants to go. Whenever gold breaks out, I'm willing to bet GDX rips. GDXJ is underneath resistance, ready to rip through that. So that's going to be an explosive move if we get a big kind of green candlestick there that just rips it. And SILJ is a little bit farther behind in terms of breaking through its patterns here. GDXJ is right here and GDX is up here. So I would prefer the laggard, in this case, SILJ. And I think this is going to be an explosive move. Explosive, guys. I mean, we could see this thing do some crazy stuff if silver really wants to rip. XAU to gold ratio, we are up 1% today. We are still, again, above the breakout line here. And we are traveling back up to the upside. We are coming from ridiculously low levels here for gold and silver mining companies in relationship to gold. Huge opportunity. Huge opportunity. And that midweek update has a lot of the gold companies and royalty companies that I like in there for playing this. Crude oil up 2%, and I know people are probably getting a little bit more bullish now that you've seen an update, but the momentum is still to the downside, unfortunately. We haven't turned this around yet. We still have that yield curve that is right at that 1-to-1 relationship. If it uninverts, we could still see some pressure on oil. Now, oil, this is an inflation-sensitive asset. If you don't have inflation, then we could go lower, but it's a weird mix. The fundamentals of oil actually don't look that bad. The market is pricing in potential future demand destruction is what it's pricing. If it gets it wrong, this is a good buying opportunity. If it gets it right, then it should be trading lower. If there's more demand destruction in the future, we could see this fall further. And that's what the market is trying to balance. It's trying to balance what the demand will be in the future and trying to price that all in to today's price. TTF gas up 2.77% today, bouncing off support, looking okay. Let's see if we can get a little bounce here. Natural gas in America up 1.75%. It's right at resistance going across here. It kind of looks like a shoulder, maybe a head, and maybe we get another shoulder action there or something out of it. You could also do a shoulder, a head, and then maybe a shoulder that is developed. But again, drawing these patterns isn't the most important thing. It's breaking through the resistance level and getting above it. So we'll see if we can break through it and hold above it that we're trying to do here. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me. We were down today, even though we had an up day in crude oil of 2%. Maybe the participants aren't believing in it, but we do have some wicks on the bottom here that shows some buying pressure that has occurred at the bottom. So I think the market is hesitant in the oil equities because it needs to see the downtrend stopped and turned in oil, which makes sense. Which is basically what my opinions are. I'm cautiously looking for a potential turn at some point. OIH also getting the wick at the bottom. We were down 0.01%. And again, we were down today on an up crude oil day of 2%. Newcastle coal futures just up a little bit today. The momentum still to the downside. But overall, it still, to me, doesn't look horrible. We'll probably bounce around here for a little bit before working our way on up. Maybe we have to get this slowdown behind us before we get any sort of traction to the upside. Sprout Physical Uranium Trust up 3.6%, 3.5% is bouncing around. Not too bad here, guys. Not too bad. This could be considered a bullish engulfing, and maybe we can get some upward momentum. I also see a short-term downtrend line that's broken. So it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty good for Sprout Physical Uranium Trust. It needs to keep that momentum going. The uranium futures price just moving sideways. It's in that dead period. The dead period, so you get a large selling pressure move, a smaller selling pressure move, a smaller selling pressure move, and then eventually you just go sideways, dead. And this is your 1, 2, 3 hump consolidation. Your dead period is this entire period here. That's where the buyers equal the sellers. And now we are looking for the buyers to step in and push it higher. One of the things that you can look at that might front run this move are the equities. And what's front running the equities here is, well, it's up 5.15%. I talked about a potential double bottom here and that we needed to see follow through. We got some follow through, and it's a pretty big green candlestick. Could this be a bottom? It could. It could. URNM also getting the big green candlesticks out. Talked about this being a potential double bottom, maybe. And then you draw it across, and there is your potential double bottom. We'll see if we can get through here. Your ideal buy point for most technical analysis are here. If it were me, I would have fired off somewhere down here because I am crazy. And I try pushing my bets. URNJ also working its way on up. Looking pretty good, 8.2%. It's a pretty strong day, and it closed pretty strong. A lot of the times you can get a little bit of resistance. We'd like to get above that resistance of 21.25-ish level. Copper up 1.68%. Looks good to go higher. Bullish engulfing here, another bullish engulfing today. That looks good to work its way on up. So that's positive. And we are above support for a lot of this. So we're getting these big wicks at the bottom on the monthly candlesticks, and those are generally where you find support and buying pressure. Weekly candlesticks, a bullish engulfing. This looks good to go higher. We just got a bullish piercing if we can finish the week off strong. COPX also following suit, up 1.92%. Looking pretty good. I think this is a good entry point for a lot of these copper stocks. And obviously on the midweek update, I go over some of the copper companies that I like. FEF, iron ore, also looking like it's trying to turn around here. So that's looking a little bit better. On a spot that is a little bit more translated below the low here, which could be a slingshot cheetah. It could be. We'll watch it and see what happens. Aluminum up 1.5%. Momentum still to the downside, but it's trying to turn. We'll see if it can turn. We got nickel down 0.4. Momentum still lower on nickel. This is a bear, could be a bear flag. We could see further downside in nickel. Moving sideways. We're right above support. There's the support level right underneath us. I think this looks good. I think it looks really good here because we're right above support. We've broken out of the downtrend pattern here. Broken out, retest, boom. Let's rip it, guys. Let's rip it. Come on, market. Don't be faking us out here. Emerging markets up 0.74%. That's looking big bullish engulfing. Looks good to go higher. It looks good. A lot of things are starting to turn around here and look pretty good. We've got KRE down 1.17. It's not a ton of selling pressure. You can see all these small red candlesticks. That doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. We're above support, so we're still looking good here for KRE. TAN up 6%. It's liking something in the market here. money's coming back into tan. It's coming back into lithium. You can see this big gap higher here. Could be putting in a potential bottom here, and the buyers are coming in. And REMX. Now, REMX is still translated lower. Momentum still to the downside, but if we get some good selling pressure here, that could easily change my mind. We need to start to create a higher high too, where if we get through something like this and get up here and do that, I would be much better for an entry point in terms of risk reward than trying to catch these bottoms as it continues to go lower. So I'd like to see that. Baltic Dry Index down slightly, but still looks good to work its way on up. We've got XHB up slightly, 0.2%, looking all right. It's a big candlestick, big buying pressure here. It is some downside momentum, but if we get some follow through, I could easily change my mind here. A Russell 2000 up. It could be a bullish reversal here. It's a bullish engulfing with a good wick. It's a hammer candlestick and a bullish engulfing where we could see some upside momentum carried through tomorrow. The S&P 500 up today. It looked like it was pretty weak in the morning, and then all of a sudden the plunge protection team was called in and got bought up here and pushed it on higher. Same with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ up 2%. I'm surprised. This is looking pretty crappy here, guys. It really does. But it was pushed higher today. Big move, 2.17%. Strong closing. SMCI up 7.8%. Still has some downside momentum, but it looks like it's trying to turn it around here, and we'll see if it's successful in doing so. When you get these big moves, usually it takes a little bit of time to grind it on out, or it creates a flag pattern upward where it then pukes again. NVIDIA up 8%, big move today. Nice kind of reversal here coming on up. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Surprising big candlestick today. Bitcoin flat. Still looks like we could potentially roll over in the short term. And Ethereum down 1.85%. We could see a little bit of downside action, a little bit of maybe sideways grindage, as what Pauly Shore would say. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you'd like. Mayday coupon code. Midweek updates released. The question and answer session this weekend is at 7 a.m. Saturday Mountain Time. So bring your questions. I'll talk about some things, maybe talk about entry points and what I look for, some of the things that I do in terms of studying for a company, and how I get some of my entry points, and what is a risky entry point, what's a lower risk entry point, how do I approach my positions as I add into them. We can go over all that stuff. I think those are pretty good things to go over, as I've seen some people talk on the Discord channel that we've got about position sizing and how to kind of approach positions, or maybe they add too much too early when something is falling. So I'll go over the general rules that I use when entering trades and what I look for investments and the setups. What is higher risk? What is lower risk? Et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I've got. We'll catch you next time, guys. This is Finding Value.